What if everything you've been told about getting rich is either incomplete or quietly misleading? What if the real reason some people become millionaires isn't luck, genius, or privilege, but a repeatable formula hiding in plain sight? Because here's a fact that often surprises people: most millionaires didn't invent revolutionary apps, didn't inherit massive fortunes, and didn't win the lottery. According to decades of research, including The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko, the majority of self-made millionaires live surprisingly ordinary lives. And yet, over time, they quietly build extraordinary wealth. So what separates them from everyone else? Today, we're breaking down the real wealth formula used by self-made millionaires, a formula backed by research, behavioral patterns, and long-term financial data. This isn't hype. This isn't a get-rich-quick fantasy. This is the slow, disciplined, proven system that has worked for millions of people across generations. And if you stay until the end, you'll understand why wealth is far more about behavior than income, and how you can start applying this formula immediately, no matter where you're starting from. To understand the wealth formula, we first need to clear up a myth. Income and wealth are not the same thing. Plenty of people earn high incomes and never build lasting wealth. At the same time, many self-made millionaires never earned eye-popping salaries. Research from Stanley and Danko showed that a significant percentage of millionaires were small business owners, engineers, accountants, teachers, and professionals who earned steadily but not extravagantly. The difference wasn't how much they made. It was what they did with what they made. At the core of the wealth formula is a simple but uncomfortable truth. Wealth is built by consistently spending less than you earn and investing the difference intelligently over long periods of time. That sounds basic, and it is, but execution is where most people fail. Self-made millionaires practice intentional spending. They don't avoid pleasure or live miserably, but they are extremely conscious of where their money goes. They prioritize value over status. Cars are reliable, not flashy. Homes are comfortable, not excessive. Purchases are weighed against long-term goals. This discipline creates what economists call a margin of safety, a buffer that allows capital to accumulate instead of disappear. And that margin becomes the fuel for the next part of the formula. The second pillar of the wealth formula is ownership, not just labor. Self-made millionaires understand something most people overlook. Working for money alone rarely leads to significant wealth. Ownership does. This doesn't always mean starting a massive company. It often starts small. Many millionaires built wealth by owning local businesses, professional practices, or shares of productive assets like stocks and real estate. The key idea is this: assets generate income without requiring proportional time. When you own a business, a rental property, or a diversified portfolio of stocks, your money begins working alongside you. Over time, this creates compounding effects that wage labor alone cannot match. This principle is strongly supported by historical market data. Over the long term, broad stock market indexes, like the S&P 500, have delivered average annual returns of around 7% after inflation. When dividends are reinvested and contributions are made consistently, compounding becomes a powerful force. Self-made millionaires don't try to outsmart the market. They focus on time in the market, not timing the market. Many invest through retirement accounts, index funds, and diversified portfolios rather than speculative bets. The formula here is patience plus consistency, and this leads to one of the most underestimated wealth advantages of all: time. Time is the invisible multiplier in the wealth formula. One of the clearest findings in wealth research is that self-made millionaires start investing earlier than average, even if they start with small amounts. Compound growth rewards those who give it the most time to work. Consider this: investing a modest amount consistently over 30 or 40 years often results in more wealth than investing large sums later in life. This is not theory, it's arithmetic. Self-made millionaires respect time. They delay gratification today to amplify results tomorrow. This doesn't mean they never enjoy life. It means they make trade-offs consciously instead of emotionally. They also avoid one of the biggest wealth destroyers: high-interest consumer debt, credit card balances, unnecessary car loans, and lifestyle inflation silently drain future wealth. Millionaires tend to use debt strategically, not impulsively. Mortgages and business loans may be used when they serve a clear long-term purpose, but consumer debt is treated as a liability to eliminate, not normalize. This restraint preserves capital, and capital, once preserved, can be deployed. Another critical part of the wealth formula is continuous self-education. Self-made millionaires are not necessarily formal academics, but they are relentless learners. They read about finance, economics, psychology, and their own industries. They stay curious. They seek mentors. They learn from failure. Studies on high net worth individuals consistently show strong correlations between wealth accumulation and financial literacy. Understanding how taxes work, how investments compound, how inflation erodes purchasing power, these aren't luxuries. They're survival skills. This knowledge shapes better decisions. It prevents emotional reactions during market downturns. It reduces susceptibility to scams and unrealistic promises. It builds confidence in long-term strategies. And importantly, this learning is ongoing. The economy changes. Industries evolve. Tax laws shift. Self-made millionaires adapt rather than cling to outdated assumptions. This adaptability brings us to the next piece of the formula. Self-made millionaires think in decades, not weeks. Short-term thinking is the enemy of wealth. Chasing trends, reacting to headlines, and constantly switching strategies creates friction, taxes, and poor timing decisions. In contrast, self-made millionaires set clear long-term goals and align their behavior around them. They measure progress annually, not daily. They expect setbacks and volatility, and they plan for them. This long-term mindset also applies to careers and businesses. Many millionaires spent years building expertise in a specific field before significant financial rewards appeared. They didn't jump ship every time things got difficult. They compounded skills the same way they compounded capital. Career capital, reputation, expertise, relationships often precedes financial capital. Self-made millionaires understand the sequence. And because they think long-term, they also prioritize stability. Risk management is another core element of the wealth formula. Contrary to popular belief, most self-made millionaires are not reckless risk takers. They are calculated risk managers. They diversify investments. They maintain emergency funds. They insure against catastrophic losses. They avoid putting all their wealth into a single idea, asset, or person. This mindset protects against ruin, which is critical. You don't need extraordinary returns to become wealthy, but you must avoid catastrophic losses. Warren Buffett famously said that the first rule of investing is not losing money. While no investment is risk-free, self-made millionaires structure their financial lives to survive worst-case scenarios. This resilience allows them to stay in the game long enough for probabilities to work in their favor. Another often overlooked part of the wealth formula is environment. Self-made millionaires are intentional about who and what they surround themselves with. They seek environments that reinforce productive behaviors instead of undermining them. This doesn't mean cutting off friends or becoming isolated. It means being aware of influence. Conversations shape beliefs. Norms shape habits. If everyone around you treats debt as normal, overspending as harmless, and long-term planning as boring, it becomes harder to act differently. Millionaires often find communities, formal or informal, where saving, investing, and self-improvement are normal. This alignment reduces friction. Good habits become easier to maintain. One of the most powerful aspects of the wealth formula is emotional discipline. Markets rise and fall. Businesses experience cycles. Life throws unexpected challenges. Self-made millionaires manage their emotions better than average, not because they don't feel fear or doubt, but because they don't let those emotions dictate decisions. During market crashes, many panic and sell at losses. Millionaires are more likely to rebalance, continue investing, or do nothing at all. They understand volatility is not the same as risk. This emotional stability is learned over time, often through experience. Mistakes happen, losses occur, but lessons are absorbed instead of ignored. And that learning compounds too. Now let's talk about income growth. While spending control and investing are essential, self-made millionaires do not rely solely on frugality. They actively work to increase income, especially income tied to skills, ownership, or leverage. They negotiate salaries. They build businesses. They invest in education that increases earning potential. They look for scalable opportunities. The difference is that increased income doesn't automatically lead to increased lifestyle. Instead, it accelerates the wealth-building process. This gap between earnings and spending is the engine of wealth. When you combine all these elements, a clear formula emerges: live below your means. Invest consistently in productive assets. Start early and stay patient. Continuously educate yourself. Think long-term. Manage risk. Control emotions. Increase income strategically. None of these are secrets, but together and practiced over years, they produce results that look extraordinary to those watching from the outside. This is why self-made wealth often appears invisible until it suddenly isn't. So here's the most important question. If the formula is known, why don't more people follow it? Because it requires discipline before reward, consistency before recognition, patience in a world obsessed with speed. But for those willing to commit, the formula works. Not overnight, not effortlessly, but reliably. And that brings us to you. If this video helped you see wealth differently, if it gave you clarity instead of hype, then you're already thinking like a long-term builder. If you want more content like this, deep, research-backed insights on money, mindset, and success, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. We're here to help you think better, plan smarter, and build a future you actually control. Thanks for watching. And remember, wealth isn't about how fast you move. It's about how long you stay consistent. See you in the next video.